It's Jorge from Team JVS, and this video is going to be a little bit different than most. I want to talk about my experience at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, and more specifically, the program that I was selected to be in for TIFF, which was one of the main reasons I got to go there, which was the Media Inclusion Initiative. For those of you who don't know, this initiative is basically to give, for better lack of terms, voices that you don't hear often, a voice, So specifically, women, minorities, um, anyone who falls under like the LGBTQ community, overall, just anyone that's not like your normal, at the end of the day, white man who most of the film critics around here are. Which, for this opportunity, when I went to it, it was a really unique and intriguing experience. So I don't know how many people applied to it, but I know that in total for the whole festival, I believe there were about like 1,600 press people there, and out of those 1,600, I believe it was only like 61 got selected to be part of this program. So that's almost like a 3% rate, basically. The really neat part about this initiative was each day they had 2 sessions that you got to attend, and you had basically guest speakers come throughout and just kind of talk about their journey, give us, the people that were in the classes, just helpful tips and helpful hints on how to progress, for better lack of terms, our career as critics, and how to further along, like our voice and make it be heard. Um, it was a very unique experience in the sense that although there were 61 slots available, not everyone attended each class, which is a pro and a con, for the simple fact that when you think about it, you basically had, I think it was roughly about an hour's worth of time of a very successful professional where you could ask questions, interact with them, and not as many people took advantage of it. That, obviously is a con. The pro to that is obviously those who came got phenomenal one-on-one time, got a wealth of information, and got tons of strategy to use for progressing our careers and moving forward, within it. Something that I found, extremely, just very fortunate. Cameron Bailey, who's the CEO of the Toronto International Film Festival, he was there opening day just to greet us and to welcome us into this program, which now that I've been through this film festival and I see how, for better lack of terms, how just chaotic it is. And it's like an organized chaos. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's chaotic, like they don't know what they're doing, but the amount of times that I saw, Cameron just going from one event to the other, to the other, to the other, was pretty phenomenal. In the sense of, he took time out of realistically what's one of the most important, 2 weeks of, the Toronto Film Festival, to spend some time with us just to like welcome us in, and it kind of explained his, kind of story real quick and how excited he is for us, which meant, it meant a lot to us, definitely meant a lot to me. Something that I found very interesting was the type of mentors that they chose to speak in this event were all very different, and just completely, I'm talking about the complete gamut of different type of people. We had, I know one of the speakers was Andrea, who's the founder and owner of Touchwood PR. Definitely a great wealth of information. We had Rod there, who basically is like your morning and nighttime news person that talks about movies and culture and everything entertainment that's happening. Also, a wealth of information. But it was very unique how a lot of these sessions went and how different each presenter, kind of talked to us about certain things. I will say, for those of you who were in the program and who got to experience it, obviously you guys understand what I'm about to say, but it it in a sense it was very heartbreaking for me when you have these people who are taking time out of their day to talk to us. And I think some of the classes only had like 6 or 7 people in it, um, which was great for those who attended, but then at the same time terrible. And you know, in my head, you kind of understand sometimes, because some of these classes, they're twice a day, and they're kind of in the middle of all the all the mess of Toronto, So in terms of like during some of the premieres, during some of the red carpets, and some of the people that are going there to work. So I understood that. I think that's something that, I would probably, if I could, kind of give any advice, I would probably change in the program, is in terms of not being able to, I guess, in a way, to somewhat enforce that people attend these classes, or, just making them at a time where it's more readily available. Um, I will say though, there were things that happened throughout the time there. So I basically, the TIFF starts, I believe, from September 8th, and it went all the way to the 18th. I got there the day before, so I got there on the 7th and stayed there just about the entire time. The thing that I found interesting was, each day, the more I networked with these people, and the more I networked with the people that were actually in the classes, the more I kind of found out about not just TIFF, but just kind of different tricks of the trade, and different things that will help me out. I will say, some of the because some of the people, were more on the journalist or editorial side, um, some of their talks, not necessarily, it's not that it didn't affect me directly, but no matter what the subject was, you were always able to grab something. For me, one of the people that, kind of impacted me the most, I would say, were probably the last two speakers, which was Andrea and Rod, in the sense of the way that they were able to convey how to get, kind of, for better lack of terms, like how to get what you need, was very useful. As a young critic or someone who's not fully established, you don't have people, knocking at your doors to ask you to interview, or to ask you, hey, can you screen this movie, or can you interview this cast? We want to get your reaction. And for someone who's new, you really don't know the full process or steps to that. Um, and I think that's something that, I'll be the first one to admit, I really didn't understand the full ropes to all that, and understand that full game. Um, Speaking with both of them, it was very intriguing. And, even sometimes when we were doing the red carpets, you have two red carpets at the same time, and it's almost trying to figure out, do you risk it to maybe talk to one person, who you're not even sure if you're going to get time to talk to them or not? Or do you go to a lesser, and I say lesser movie, but it's really not, but just uh, a lesser known actor, movie, where you're guaranteed to talk with them. One example I can bring up for that was, there was a day where, we got to interview the director who did the movie Old Boy. And it was intriguing because when you went to the red carpet, there was a very small amount of people there. So we actually got a good amount of time with them. Unlike other red carpets where it's like, you ask one or two questions and then they kind of move you along. It's very intriguing, just trying to figure out your strategy, trying to figure out, almost who are these new up and coming people that you have faith in order to, progress their careers and all that. I will say something that I wish they would somewhat change a little bit in the way that they also run this program. A lot of us, when we were doing our applications and all that, it kind of asked us for, what are like the 3 movies you're most excited to see. And it was, in my head, I thought it was because they were going to get us opportunities to either, talk with the director, the cast, anyone who was there, or even screen the movie earlier. And that really wasn't it. It was more just just so they knew which movies we were excited for. I think it was almost for them to kind of understand our style per se. But overall, I would say that a program like this, I'm starting to understand the value in it, because you start kind of seeing how all these different voices really don't get heard. But the interesting part about it is when you meet all these people from different backgrounds, you also get introduced to different organizations and different groups that can tremendously help you out. While I was there, I got to talk to, each kind of country basically had its own kind of booth there where you could talk to people. And because of one of the individuals that I met, during this inclusion program, I got to talk to a couple organizations which I probably wouldn't have, stopped by and chatted with them for a while, which was really interesting because, you kind of start opening up doors for each other and trying to help each other out, which was very, very helpful. Something that I will say that I think would probably benefit this program, in the future, or, for next year, something like that, is starting a group. Like, once everyone's accepted into the program, either start like a Facebook or a WhatsApp group where a lot of us can just kind of start getting to know each other and talking through it. There was one day where I wasn't going to be able to make one of the sessions, but I knew that, a couple of my friends that I met there were going to go. So I ended up skipping out on, a premiere to a movie just to go to this. And I was so happy I did because I got so much out of it. So it was one of those like blessing in disguise type of thing. But I will say, I think that was the one piece that I kind of felt was kind of short on this one, is we really never got to meet all 61 people who made it into this, this inclusion group. And I think that would have been really helpful to do. I know throughout all of, the Toronto Film Festival, their Instagram page was highlighting some of the people that were in it. But even still, through that thing, we still didn't get to, I guess, personally interact with them, which I think would have been a nice thing. Even doing, like a mixer or something, like, the first day or something like that. I think that would have been really, really nice. But overall, I want to say, if you are a minority, look into these inclusion programs for any film festival. Right now, I can only talk about the Toronto one because that's the only one I've experienced. But in terms of being able to boost your confidence, give you such great connections that hopefully you'll be able to use for years on end, this is it. This is a wonderful opportunity. And for those who actually ran the whole TIFF inclusion program, I just want to say a huge thank you. It was at least for the people that we met, it was a very small team. I believe about like 4 or 5 people that we actually got to meet that, kind of ran that team. But it was invaluable, kind of the amount of times that you could just run up to these people and just ask them a question or email them just a random question and they'll be able to answer it immediately. But overall, I would say look into these programs. Definitely, if you're new to the game, even if you're old to the game, seek out some of these programs, because every day, things are changing and things are evolving, and the way stuff works, it's not like 10 years ago or, even 5 years ago. Like the programs change and the way you connect with people completely changes. One thing that I will say, is I hope more organizations put programs like this in place where everyone feels like they have an equal playing field in advancing in their career. Because I think that's what makes movies so special. When you start going and you start kind of hearing different opinions other than the same type of opinions, it kind of opens up your perspective on a lot of these things. I know while I was there at the Toronto Film Festival, I ended up running into just one of a random critic, and we were just kind of exchanging some of the movies we've seen and some of the what's been good so far that we've seen. And he suggested a foreign film which was nowhere near on my radar. And thank God I bumped into him, because that became my favorite film of the festival. So it's one of those things where when you're around these different types of people, you start getting little glimpses of different types of movies, and you start hearing different opinions that maybe you'll find that you agree with, or even if you find you disagree with, but you find people that you can openly share these things with, which I think is the main benefit to this program, is not only, getting this small percentage of people whose voices really aren't heard in the chatter of the ginormous, critic world, but once you kind of link us together, it just kind of amplifies it, and it allows us to even be more creative and to open up our horizons in terms of what we can watch, or things that we would have never put on our radar. But overall, I don't want to keep rambling too much, but I will say, for everyone at TIFF who was working or volunteering, thank you. You guys did awesome. Everyone who was working the red carpets, you guys busted your butts, and it showed, and everything went very smoothly. And then most importantly, to the media inclusion program, I just want to say, thank you for accepting us. Thank you for having us. It was definitely just a great opportunity. So I truly want to say just thank you for that. And then, of course, last but not least, but Cameron Bailey for just having a phenomenal film festival. For those of you guys who don't know, this happens every year. Definitely try to attend it. It was spectacular. Is the nicest thing I can say. It was just out of this world. We'll probably be creating another video just talking about our experience, because a lot of the members from Team JVS ended up going to Toronto for this. So be on the lookout for that. But just wanted to end with that. As always, hit that like button. If you have any questions about this type of program, please make sure to drop a comment down below, or if you want more information or just have any questions in general, I'll be more than happy to jump in the chat and answer anything you guys have. But other than that, this is Jorge from Team JVS, and we'll see you next time. Peace.